Hello my movie peeps, I just got done watching Shazam Fury of the Gods, and with this second installment in the Shazam franchise, we follow the Shazam family a couple years later. They're all a little bit older, and with that some of them are needing to go live their own lives. All while Billy Batson is dealing with superhero imposter syndrome, not to mention a giant mythical dragon led by three evil sisters wanting the family's powers. That's all pretty much. I'll give any spoilers to you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Man, it's kind of weird. I am a big fan of that first Shazam movie. I love it. Even before having seen the first film, I just knew there was untapped potential in the Shazam character. Because come on, it's a little kid that gets to turn into a superhero. That's literally one of the many fantasies us little kids have sitting bored in school going, if only I could fly. So it really wasn't a surprise to me when David F. Sandberg knocked it out of the park with that first film. And then with the second movie, I should be also jumping up and down excited for it. Yet with the trailers and the promotion for the movie and it getting closer, I just wasn't hyped for it. I'm not sure if that has a lot to do with the uncertainty of the DC universe and everything going on in it, or even the worry if we'll ever see these characters again. But my excitement for this second film was like very neutral, and then having walked out of it, it's a pretty fun time. I think director David F. Sandberg delivered another wholesome, fun, entertaining superhero family movie. Some of the things I really liked about this installment is, playing into the whole Greek mythology side of things. Exploring where the Shazam name comes from, wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules. It was honestly a clever angle to go with this sequel. I also just love David F. Sandberg's directing. He's someone I really just respect and admire, making little short films on YouTube, then Hollywood recognizing him and saying, you want to turn that short film into a movie? And to me, he's had a consistently great career since, while still uploading from time to time on YouTube, being very open and honest about his experience. And it's no different here. He puts in so much of his unique flavor into the movie. Like, I love how as I'm watching this movie, you can very much feel David F. Sandberg is a horror hound. Things like the opening sequence and other little scenes throughout the film just give you a sense that he was just trying to insert his love of horror into this superhero film. I'm also a really big fan of the brand of comedy in the Shazam film. I was laughing quite a bit throughout here. I think a lot of the jokes will land for you. Shazam is the character that gets the most scrutiny for being called kind of like a Marvel copycat just because he deals with some lighthearted tones, but I feel like the humor in here isn't really even Marvel-esque. It's more clever, it's more out of the box, just little situations like in the first film where you have the bad guy and Shazam in the air talking to each other, but Shazam can't hear a word of what he's saying. The dynamic between the Shazam family also remains pretty strong. They remain in their superhero forms for a large part of the movie, so you don't get to spend too much time with the kid side. In fact, I think the movie kind of tells you in a way which kid actors are actually the stronger actors of them all, because Jack Dylan Grazer in here gets a lot of screen time in his human form. I'm gonna feel bad for them Adam Brody fans out there, but it's another highlight of the movie because Jack Dylan Grazer's character and Rachel Zegler carry this bit of romance and they share great chemistry. Their banter back and forth was really fun to watch. It was an unexpected element, but a rather surprising one. I will say, while a lot of the action in here feels very uninspired and just kind of paint by the numbers typical superhero-esque things, the final battle between Shazam and the dragon is pretty stunning. It feels like they saved up all their VFX money just for that final scene, because there's a couple of good VFX moments throughout here, especially with some of these weird creature designs that you'll get to see in the final act. Not everything looks absolutely perfect, but they really did save their money for that final battle, and it shows. But if I move on to some of the things I was kind of mixed to negative about here, the film just leaves a lot to be desired. While it's very entertaining, and I think it'll satisfy most Shazam fans because I kind of put it up there with the first movie, it just comes off very safe. This is a harmless sequel. Like, I doubt you'll find anything in here that truly makes you go, oh, why did they do this? No, it's just very sweet family fun and nothing more than that. While I love the Greek mythology angle, the three sister villains in here just felt kind of lackluster to me. You have two of the sisters played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, and they come off really strong in the first half, but then somewhere in the middle, they just become less and less and less menacing, where they're going back and forth on what their motives are, what they want done, till you're just like, are these guys even villains anymore? I also think Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods suffers a lot from typical superhero cliches. I cannot tell you the amount of motivational speeches and just really obvious predictable things that have happened dozens of times in other superhero films. Seriously, count by the end of the movie how many characters to each other are going, it's in you, you have it, you can do this, believe in yourself. Which I know sometimes is just a thing needed in the movie, that pep talk speech, but it kind of gets overdone in the end of this movie. I also feel like it does drag on a bit to where you start to feel the length of this movie towards the end. There's also a bit of a tone issue sometimes going on with Shazam Fury of the Gods, because they throw sometimes a lot at your face. You know, they have the great comedy moments where these are kids being superheroes. You're gonna expect some of that cheesy, funny goodness, and so I tend to forgive it more in Shazam than other films. But then they also have, you know, those moments of horror thrown in there, then some really dark, serious story beats, some emotional stuff thrown at your face, and it just sometimes doesn't all blend in well together. There's like one or two moments where it is very heartfelt, and then there's other times where it doesn't feel earned. Also, I'm not really gonna fault the director or creative team in here, because even the director came out and said, oh, there's trailers now with spoilers to my movie, watch out. So clearly it was not his choice, but if you've been online, you've seen Warner Brothers has ruined a major cameo in this movie. I won't say what it is in case you haven't seen those trailers yet, but just by ruining that cameo in the trailers and the promos and whatnot, you give away a large part of this ending. It's not just the fact that this character shows up, it's the fact that you're watching this movie, something major happens, and you're like, okay, but this character hasn't shown up yet, so we're still gonna get that scene, meaning what I'm witnessing right now is not as devastating as this movie wants me to believe it is. When there was a point, if it wasn't marketed in the trailers, I'd honestly believe that's how they decided to end this movie. I know I'm being vague, but once you see the film, maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about. Still, when it comes down to it, I enjoyed my time with Shazam Fury of the Gods. I think it really is just wholesome family fun. It's not breaking the mold in any sort of fashion for the superhero genre, and I have seen a lot worse. You know, people keep asking me, is it better than Ant-Man 3? Is it better than Black Adam? And yes to both. If anything, this movie makes me feel like I want to see David F. Sandberg, this director, do more than these superhero films, because I feel like he really is such a talented director with a good sense of direction for character, story, and what can be possible on the big screen. So for Shazam Fury of the Gods, I'm gonna give action 3 stars. I was hoping they could be a little bit more inventive with the action in here, but minus the final battle with the dragon, everything before just felt like your stereotypical superhero stuff. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. Humor is subjective, so we're not going to find everything funny, but the brand of humor in Shazam Fury of the Gods really worked for me. The poking fun of the superhero world, even the movie sometimes poking fun of itself for some of the things that it's doing. To me, it comes off like a more clever version of the MCU humor that they currently have right now. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I think the storyline in here was suitable enough. It kind of loses my interest towards the end, and I wish some of the emotional moments impacted me more, but there's some story arcs in here that don't feel completed or fleshed out. There's this whole tiny little conflict between Billy and his foster mom that I think would have worked so much better if we actually got to spend more time with Billy in human form and that mother, as well as the whole idea that these people are growing up and they can't be a family in the same house forever. That storyline's kind of just abandoned by the end. Horror in the movie, I'm gonna give 1.5 stars. Like I said, David F. Sandberg is a horror fan at heart, and you can see that so many times throughout the film. There's just little sequences in here that you'll be able to pick out and go, oh, that's something you'd see in a horror movie, and it's kind of cool that he snuck it in here. And suspense of the film, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars because of this family feel-good nature. The stakes don't really feel as high. I maybe would have been at shock towards the things that happen at the end of the film, but because they spoil stuff in some of the promos, I knew it was only seconds before they changed their minds on that. Casual fans to the Shazam world, I'm gonna give it an A-. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a B-. And critically, I'm going to give it a B-. For Shazam Fury of the Gods, this is an innocent, fun little superhero movie, man, and it's worthy enough to be seen in theaters. Again, that's just my opinion on Shazam Fury of the Gods. Don't expect too much from it. Just really enjoy your time. It's kind of just a good little distraction piece. I think you're for sure going to enjoy this if you were a fan of the first film. And there are 2 post-credit scenes, one in the middle and one at the very end. I think the first post-credit scene gives you an obvious idea whether we will see Shazam again or not in the new DCU. But again, leave me your guys' opinions with Shazam Fury of the Gods if you go and check it out this weekend. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3CFilms or on TikTok at 3CFilms. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.